G'day, and welcome to the AOS Coach sneak peek into the Arena of Shades battle box between the Daughters of Khaine and Nighthaunt. Now, Games Workshop were kind enough to send me a copy in advance, but I'm under no obligation to do a review, nor will they get to see this video before it goes up. In this video, I'm going to highlight the Nighthaunt updates that are featured in this battle box, which include showing you the rules for the new hero, the Scriptor Mortis, as well as the crossbows. I'm going to show you the new points, as well as give you a bit of a sneak peek into the lore. In the box, you get the Scriptor Mortis, which is a brand new hero. You get those crossbows, or the 5 Craventhrone Guard. You get 10 Bladegheist Revenants. You get 1 Spirit Torment, 2 Chainghasts, as well as 4 Myrmourn Banshees, as well as some Daughters of Khaine. Now, there are no mentions of allegiance abilities, battle tactics, battalions, or enhancements for either of the factions in this box, but we do know that there are new battle tomes coming in the near future. They're the next ones that have been announced, so you will get Daughters of Khaine and Nighthaunt books coming. We just don't know when. So let's crack on and dig into the good stuff. The Scriptor Mortis records the rise of Nagash's empire and punishes those who would stand against it. With a mere flick of the quill, they sentence souls to be dragged to the underworlds, condemning them with the eternity of torment. Starting at the base profile, we are looking at a pretty generic Nighthaunt minor hero. It has a move of 6, a save of 4, a bravery of 10, and 6 wounds. It has 1 attack profile, which has a range of 1, and they get 3 attacks. They hit on 4s, wound on 3s, rend 1 for 2 damage. This really isn't your combat hero, so I would expect to do a couple of wounds at best. Like every other Nighthaunt hero, it can fly, as well as ignores the save modifiers with Ethereal. The primary reason you're taking the Scriptor Mortis is for the ability Sentence to Eternal Torment. Now, the way this works is in your hero phase, you can say that you are going to record the name for a soul to be judged. If you do so, pick one enemy hero that doesn't have the death keyword, and it is visible for the Scriptor Mortis to judge its soul. Now, once you've marked down who you want to judge, at the start of each of your subsequent hero phases, if the judge soul and this Scriptor Mortis are both on the battlefield, you must make a judgment roll for that judge soul, and it doesn't allow you to then record a name again. So basically, it's either you record a name of a judge person or you make a judgment roll, one or the other. In addition, if the battle would end, so at the end of the game, and both the Judge Soul and the Scriptor Mortis are on the battlefield, you're going to also get an opportunity to roll the Judgment roll. So basically, you get one final shot to pull down that hero. Really tasty if it might be like a grand strategy or a battle tactic. Now, all right, so we've got our Judge Soul and we've got our Scriptor Mortis. So to make a Judgment roll, you roll a single dice. And if that roll is less than the number of the current battle rounds, the Judge Soul is going to suffer 2d6 mortal wounds. Now, a unit cannot be picked to be a Judge Soul more than once during the battle. So if you took multiple Scriptor Mortises, you couldn't stack them on a particular hero that you really wanted to pull down. You need to pick multiple different heroes. So for example, in turn 1, I name a hero in my opponent's army to be judged. Let's say, for example, I'm fighting the Cities of Sigmar, and I want the Free Guild General dead. In turn 2, in my hero phase, and then every subsequent hero phase of mine, if the Scriptor Mortis and the Free Guild General are still on the table, both of them, I get to roll a dice. And if that roll is less than the current battle round, so in turn 2, I would need to roll a 1. In turn 3, I'd have to roll a 1 or a 2, yada, yada, yada. That Free Guild General would suffer 2d6. Now, while the Free Guild General is still on the table, I can't be going around naming other heroes to be judged with this particular Scriptor Mortis. But if I had multiple Scriptor Mortises, I could clearly name multiple heroes. So if it dies, let's say I pop that Free Guild General in turn 3, I could go in my next hero phase, I could name another hero to be judged. And then the cycle repeats, right? So great for pulling down minor heroes. Or if you've got that super, I don't know, a Mega Gargan, Archaon, Nagash superhero, you could be chipping down mortal wounds with potentially 2d6 being allocated every hero phase, or every your hero phase. And there is one other ability, and that is the Witchlight Candle. And once per phase, so hero, movement, shooting, blah, 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 you can allocate one wound or mortal wound that would normally be allocated to the Scriptor Mortis. And instead, you would allocate that wound or mortal wound to a friendly Nighthaunt summonable unit within 6 inches of the Scriptor Mortis instead. So that could be what, your Hex Wraiths, your Chainghasts Horde, it would be your Spirit Hosts, things like that. They would all be able to bounce mortal wounds off to them instead of your Scriptor Mortis, and obviously with your summoning ability to be able to bring them back throughout the game. So nice little bodyguard rule without being a bodyguard. The other new unit in the box would be the Craventhrone Guard, aka the Crossbows. The Craventhrone Guard serve Kurdos Valentia and anyone who shares his aims. They are cruel, they are spiteful, even for the Nighthaunt, and they revel in hunting down enemy champions, slaying them from afar before they even know of their impending doom. Now, with an intro like this, I would expect the Nighthaunt's version of the Lumineth Sentinels, which sadly they are not. They have a move of 8, they have an armor save of 5, which is rather low actually for the traditional Nighthaunt. You've got your standard bravery of 10, and they have 1 wound apiece. Now, the key reason you want to take these Craventhrone Guard is that they have ranged attacks, which, as you already know, you are quite sorely lacking in Nighthaunt. You are going to get your Soul Hunter crossbows, which have a range of 12. They have 2 shooting attacks each. They hit on 4s, they wound on 4s. They have rend -1 for 1 damage. Now, they have a couple of abilities. They've got the Spectral Bolt, which means that they can shoot even if they don't have line of sight. And if they are shooting at a unit that is gaining a benefit to cover, they would not gain their cover save. So that's the +1 save if you're in cover. You don't get it because of the Spectral Bolts. Your standard bearer in the unit is going to allow you to bring back models using the Rally Command ability on a 5+, where normally if you use Rally, it was based on 6s, and the unit champion is going to get an extra melee attack, not a shooting attack. Initially, I think that this unit is underwhelming because the shooting attack is at quite a short range. It's 12 inches, not 18, not 24. It's only 12. The hit and the wound profile is average at best, and it doesn't have any high rend or mortal wounds that you'd probably need right now in the game. It is hard to see the forest from the trees because we don't have the battle tome yet, so I would not freak out just yet until we saw those allegiance abilities, as sub-allegiances. Maybe there's a hero in the Nighthaunt book that's going to boost this profile up. Maybe Kurdos Valentia is going to do something with an updated war scroll. Who knows? I personally don't know just yet. I really like the models. I think they're awesome models, but I'm going to reserve my judgment on how useful they are in the game until I see the battle tome. Inside the box, there are a couple of other units from the existing range. You've got your Bladegheist Revenants, your Spirit Torment, your Chainghasts, as well as your Myrmourn Banshees. There was very little movement to the existing war scroll for the Bladegheist Revenant. It has the same move, save, bravery, wounds, the same melee profile. It's all remaining unchanged. The Whirling Death, which allows them to retreat and charge, as well as gaining that +1 attack characteristic to the Tomb Great Blades, is still there, unchanged. The unit did gain the elite ability, so it means that they're going to be able to issue commands to themselves, which is a great boost. You no longer need to have a little boosting champion to be giving them all-out attack. They did lose the Fearful Frenzy, though, and that was the ability that gave them reroll to hits if they were within certain range of, I think, another particular unit. The Spirit Torment gained 2 extra points of movement and is now at a flat movement of 8, though its save, bravery, and wounds characteristic all remain the same. The melee profile has changed slightly, so it now has a flat 2 damage instead of having that D3 roll, and the rest of the profile is the same. It did lose the ability to reroll 1s through Nagash's bidding. Captured Soul Energy has had a positive change. It's now got an improved range of its ability, so instead of it being 6 inches range, it's now 12 inches range, and it no longer requires a random D3 heal or a conditional kill a Stormcast model in order to heal 3. It's just a flat heal of up to 3 wounds allocated to a unit, so you can either return the number of slain models to that unit with a combined characteristic of 3 or less, or you could obviously heal up. So it'd be great for your spirit hosts, it could be great to bring back your Chainghasts, all those kinds of things, right? However you want to use your 3. Your Chainghasts have also gained 2 extra inches of movement, so that movement is now 8, but they did lose a point of their base save. So I believe they used to be on a 4+, they're now on a base save of 5+, though their bravery, their wounds, the missile profile all remain the same. Your melee profile has changed a little bit, so in the ye old days, you used to get your Ghast Flail attacks, and you would calculate the amount of attacks based on how many enemy units are within 2 inches of each of your Chainghasts. It's now just changed to be a flat D3 attacks per Chainghast. So they're a bit more consistency. You don't need to go for some weird movement shenanigans to try to get the maximum amount of attacks for your Ghast Flails. It's just a flat D3. The other improvement for the melee weapon profile is the fact that it's gained a point of rend. So now they are rend -2. Otherwise, the attack profile is basically the same. Technically, they did lose the sweeping blows ability, but that was just calculating the amount of attacks for the Ghast Flail, but we've already talked about it being now a flat D3. But the other change would be the other link in the chain. That is now just a flat +1 to hit rather than re-rolling once to hit. Now, that's still wholly within 12 inches of the Spirit Torment. It's just that, as you already know, the 3rd edition Age of Sigmar is removing the re-roll abilities from battle tomes, and I imagine the same will be true in Daughters of Khaine when time kind of comes to show off that range. But it's now just a flat +1 to hit rather than re-roll ones to hit. Finally, you've got your Myrmourn Banshees, who have the same move, the same save, the same bravery, the same wounds as they always did. Their melee weapon profile did change a little bit. You've gained an extra attack. You've also gained an extra point of rend, so it's now a flat 2 damage, and the profile is a 1-inch range with 2 attacks each, hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s, rend -2 for 2 damage. The big change for Myrmourn Banshees is the Spell Eater ability has significantly changed. The range has been reduced from 8 inches down to 12, and the ability has changed to basically now, if you make that dice roll, you ignore the effects of a spell rather than it counting as an unbind. So in the past, it basically treated them like a wizard and they could make an unbind roll. Now it's just you roll the dices and it would count as if you ignore the spell effect. So you do get +1 to that dice roll if there are 3 models. That's been reduced. It used to be 4. And the other change when it comes to Spell Eater is that they no longer heal D3 damage if they dispel an endless spell, and nor do they gain +1 attack to their Chill Dagger if you successfully unbind the spell. But you've kind of already gained the extra attack on the profile base. It's just that you've lost the ability to kind of double down on the spell ability by eating up an endless spell and or unbinding. Now, at the back of the Arena of Shades booklet, you will find match play points as well for your new hero and your Craventhrone Guard and the existing model. So when it comes specifically to the Nighthaunt, your Scriptor Mortis is 150 points. It will take a leader slot and it isn't unique. So as I previously mentioned, when it comes to making those judgment rolls, you could take multiple Scriptor Mortis. The Craventhrone Guard are 95 points for 5 models, and there is no way to make them battle line as we currently know. Now, that's going to mean that you can take a maximum unit size of 10 per unit. The other units remain unchanged from what we know from their points. The Spirit Torment is 115, the Bladegheist Revenants are 190 for 10, your Chainghasts are 75 for 2, and your Myrmourn Banshees are 75 for 4. It is interesting to me that there were no points adjustments really to the existing units, and I do wonder if that's going to be the same when we get the battle tome. But I think the Scriptor Mortis for 150 is going to be a good choice to be added into your Nighthaunt. Again, the Craven Guard, I think I still need to see a hero to kind of give me some boosts to that, because I don't think I'd be paying 95 points for a non-battle line unit that isn't really doing me much with a short distance attack. Arena of Shades is set in Akshi, the realm of fire in the north of the Great Parch. At the end of 2nd edition Age of Sigmar, through the Broken Realms books, we saw Morathi and her Daughters of Khaine, through the aid of the Idoneth Deepkin, brutally annex Anvilgard, which was a former Cities of Sigmar, and it's now turned it into Harkuron. So while Sigmar was fighting against destruction, Morathi struck at the Cities of Sigmar and took over one of Sigmar's cities. In the eyes of Nagash, the Khainites had committed a grievous sin. They had offered the souls of the slain Anvilgard inhabitants to their allies, the Idoneth Deepkin, and this soul thievery didn't go down well with the Great Necromancer. Now at this time, Nagash was weakened after the attempts to drain the magics from across the mortal realms through the grand ritual at the climax of the Soul Wars, but ultimately he was stopped by Archmage Teclis and the realm spirit Selenar. In retaliation, the Great Necromancer would go on and charge the feared Craven King, Kurdos Valentia, him and him alone, to go in and attack Harkuron, to sack the city and reclaim those rightful souls that were his. The attack would take place as the flame moon approached its zenith, while the Daughters of Khaine celebrated the Feast of Charybdis, which was marked by a celebration with grand gladiatorial displays. While the Khainites were distracted by their murder games, the Nighthaunt would launch their initial attack against the elven citizens of the city. It was here that the city broke between the Daughters of Khaine and the Nighthaunt, which is battled out through this battle box. If you want to explore this story further, there is narrative battle plans and additional stories to explore through the book, as well as the lore behind the Scriptor Mortis, one of my personal favorites, as well as the High Gladiatrix. So what do I think about this box for a Nighthaunt player? If you or your friend are looking to start Nighthaunt and are previously avoided things like the Soul Wars or any other ways to get started like the Mortal Realms magazine, I think this box is a good launch pad to get started. It does come with a mixture of different units, though it is missing critical battle line like your Chainrust Horde. That would allow you to play in match play, though there probably isn't enough points yet in this box to even get 1,000 points. Now, many of those War Scrolls saw minor changes at best. You did lose a lot of those reroll abilities, but that's pretty consistent across the changes in 3rd edition. I really like the Scriptor Mortis, both as a model and as a competitive choice. If I was running Nighthaunt at a tournament, I definitely would be considering the Scriptor Mortis. It has a great ability to project power at a large distance, which has always been a problem for Nighthaunt, and it does give you the ability to shut down those heroes that your opponent has because you're able to deal those mortal wounds, especially if you're able to roll under the current battle round. I imagine shooting armies will probably prioritize the Scriptor Mortis because if you mark a critical hero, they'll want to pull you down early. So watch out for those long strikes, those daughters, bow snakes, etc., etc. Now, as for my crossbows, I really don't know what to say here because as it currently stands, the information that is available to me right now, I would not take them in a competitive list because they just don't do a lot. As you see here on the chart, 5 Craventhrone Guard will average between less than a wound to 2.5 wounds per round of shooting, depending on if there are armor saves. Now, I haven't factored in any ward saves to this. If you use all-out attack, you'll probably be up to anywhere between up to 3 wounds, depending on, again, who your target is in the shooting phase. As per the lore is all about character sniping. Guess what? They don't ignore Lookout Sir. They don't deal mortal wounds. And look, unless there's something in the battle tome, I don't want to judge them too quickly or too hard because we don't know what's coming in the battle tome. There could be literally nothing, and in that case, I wouldn't take them right now. Now, if in the battle tome there is something, again, that's going to give me ignoring Lookout Sir, dealing mortal wounds, extend the range, increase the profile to be hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, an additional point of rend or something, right? Then I might consider taking them. Right now, it is hard to justify, but let me know in the comments section, Nighthaunt players, what you think about this box and the rule changes you've seen. Will these change the way that you construct your Nighthaunt force? Will you be adding the new Scriptor Mortis? Do you think I'm judging the crossbows a little bit too harshly? Let me know in the comments. I'd be curious to hear from you. Right now, love the Scriptor Mortis. Not a big fan right now of the Craventhrone Guard, but again, time may tell if I change my approach differently. Thanks for sticking around until the end. I hope you found that video interesting and you walked away with a few new ideas. If you did, I would appreciate it if you hit like on the video, as well as left me a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. The conversation will continue over on Discord, so links down below in the episode description if you want to join the Discord and continue the Age of Sigmar conversation. I want to give a massive shout out as well to these absolute bloody legends, these champions who have continued to support me through Patreon or YouTube members. That is going directly into supporting the maintenance and the growth of this channel. So thank you very much, guys. Much appreciated. And until next time, roll more sixes.